All right, so get ready because we're diving deep into some financial wisdom. And, it's perfect timing, too. With the holidays coming up, there's always that temptation to overspend a little bit. We're going to be looking at a popular YouTube video from TVC featuring Dr. Olamide Emanuel. He's a business coach, and he's sharing his advice on how to avoid common money mistakes, especially during December, when things can get a little crazy.
Yeah, December is definitely a tough month for sticking to a budget.
For sure, for sure. So one of the things that really struck me about Dr. Emanuel's message was that we often put so much effort into earning money, but we don't always put the same amount of energy into learning how to manage it.
It's so true. It's like we're so focused on filling up our bank accounts, but we don't always think about how to keep that money from slipping away.
Exactly. And he makes this really interesting analogy. He says, just as your learning capacity determines your earning potential, your financial intelligence shapes your financial outcomes.
I love that.
Yay.
It's such a powerful way to think about it. It's like financial literacy is a skill that we can develop just like any other skill.
Right. And the more we learn, the better equipped we are to make smart decisions with our money.
Absolutely. And that's where his 40-20-40-60 principle comes in. He talks about how when we're younger in our 20s and 30s, our financial decisions might be influenced more by outside pressures. Maybe we're trying to keep up with the Joneses or impress our friends.
Oh, yeah. Totally been there.
But as we get older, hopefully we start to realize that true financial well-being comes from making choices that align with our own values and goals, not what society tells us to do.
It's about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Between enjoying life and being responsible with our money.
Exactly. And that's not always easy, especially during December. There's so much pressure to spend money on gifts and decorations and parties.
Well, he has this great line about that. He says, if you wear tomorrow's clothes today, you'll be naked tomorrow.
Wow, that's a powerful image. It really drives home the point that overspending today can have serious consequences down the road.
It's like setting ourselves up for a financial hangover.
Yeah, and nobody wants that. So what's the key to avoiding those post-holiday money blues?
Budgeting. It might not sound like the most exciting topic.
But it's so important.
Dr. Emanuel stresses that planning ahead, especially for December, can make a world of difference. It's like having a roadmap for your spending so you don't veer off course and end up in debt.
I think a lot of people avoid budgeting because it feels restrictive, but it's actually quite the opposite when you think about it.
How so?
Well, when you have a budget, you know exactly where your money is going, and you can make conscious choices about how you want to spend it. It gives you more control over your finances.
That makes sense. So it's not about depriving yourself. It's about being intentional with your spending.
Right, and he even suggests viewing any bonuses or extra income you receive as exceptional income.
So not just money to blow on impulse purchases.
Exactly. He encourages us to think about investing that extra cash for long-term goals, like buying a house or funding our children's education.
Now, that's a smart way to use those extra funds.
It is. It's about playing the long game and setting ourselves up for financial success in the future.
And he doesn't stop at budgeting either. He goes on to talk about investing and the importance of understanding where our money is going.
He really emphasizes the need to be informed, to do our research and not just blindly follow the crowd.
He actually says the second name for investment is risk.
That's a good point to remember. There's no guaranteed return without some level of uncertainty involved.
But how do we know which risks are worth taking?
Well, that's where knowledge and information come in. Dr. Emanuel urges us to educate ourselves about different investment options and to understand the potential risks and rewards before we put any money down.
It's about making informed decisions, not just acting on impulse or hype.
Right, and he even cautions against investing money that we can't afford to lose.
That's a good rule of thumb for sure.
It is. Investing should be about growing our wealth, not putting ourselves in a financially precarious position.
It makes me think back to a time when...
Invested in something I didn't fully understand, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't end well.
I think we've all been there.
Live and learn, right?
Definitely. But it's good to learn from those mistakes and, try to make more informed decisions moving forward.
Absolutely. So Dr. Emanuel talks a lot about finding that balance between enjoying life and being financially responsible. And he actually shares how he does that himself. Like he plans for his family's annual gatherings in December.
Oh, interesting. So he knows that expenses like food and entertainment are going to be higher during that time.
Exactly. And he factors those costs into his budget.
So it's not about cutting out the fun altogether. It's about being realistic and planning ahead.
Right. He gives this simple example. If your normal food budget is $50 per week, but, you'll be spending closer to $150 during the holidays because of all the get-togethers. Well, you need to plan for that extra $100.
All about being proactive, right?
Yeah, so you don't get hit with a big credit card bill in January and think, oh, where did all my money go?
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that can be a little tricky, especially around the holidays: navigating family dynamics and peer pressure.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. And Dr. Emmanuel shares a personal story about explaining to his son why he was flying in economy class while his parents were in business class.
I bet a lot of parents can relate to that.
For sure. It's a common scenario, and it highlights the importance of open communication with our kids about money.
So how did he approach that conversation?
Well, he basically explained to his son that they were all traveling together as a family and that sometimes there are different seating options on airplanes.
That's a good way to put it, keeping it simple and age appropriate.
Exactly. And he emphasizes the importance of involving children in financial discussions from a young age.
So it's not about shielding them from money matters. It's about teaching them about responsible financial habits by example.
Right, and finding ways to create positive memories with our children without breaking the bank. Like he talks about having a tradition of monthly family dinners out.
I love that idea. It's about making those experiences a regular part of life, not just something special for the holidays.
And it's something that the whole family can look forward to.
Now, speaking of the holidays, one of the challenges a lot of parents face is managing their children's expectations, especially with all the advertising and peer pressure pushing towards, buying all the latest gadgets and toys.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely a tough one.
So how does Dr. Manuel suggest navigating that?
Well, he tells this heartwarming story about a Christmas where his family enjoyed a simple, traditional meal, and a friend who was visiting was surprised by their lack of extravagance.
Interesting.
Yeah, but his daughter explained that they understood and accepted their family's financial situation at that time.
That's sweet.
It is. It's a beautiful example of how children can find contentment in simplicity when they see their parents modeling those values.
Actions speak louder than words, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our children are always watching and learning from us, whether we realize it or not.
So it's important to be mindful of the messages we're sending them about money.
Definitely. And Dr. Emmanuel also talks involving kids in financial decisions, explaining why they can't have every new toy they see advertised.
It's about setting clear boundaries and expectations, but also giving them a sense of agency within those limitations.
Exactly. He even suggests giving them a small allowance and letting them make some choices about how they spend or save it.
That's a great way to teach them about financial responsibility.
It is. And he also emphasizes the importance of being transparent with our kids about our own financial situation, in an age-appropriate way, of course.
So it's not about burdening them with adult worries, but about helping them understand that everyone has financial limitations.
Right, and that it's okay to not have everything we want.
It's about teaching them to appreciate what they have and to be content with enough.
Exactly. And, he also reminds us that financial well-being isn't just about having a lot of money. It's about managing what we have wisely and making choices that align with our values.
It's about living a fulfilling life without being consumed by material possessions.
Exactly. And he actually lays out a pretty simple framework for making more money available.
Oh, really? What's that?
He says there are two basic approaches. You can either increase your income or decrease your expenses.
That makes sense.
He calls these time-tested universal laws of money management.
So it's not about finding some magic formula. It's about taking action and being consistent.
Right, and it's about having a plan. If you know you're going to have extra expenses during the holidays, like for gifts or entertaining, well, you need to factor that into your budget ahead of time.
He keeps coming back to that budgeting idea, doesn't he?
He does. It's really the foundation of sound financial management.
And it's something that anyone can do.
Exactly. You don't need to be a financial expert to create a budget and start tracking your spending.
So what are some of his key takeaways when it comes to budgeting, specifically for the holidays?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of setting a realistic budget and sticking to it.
Easier said than done, right?
Well, he offers some practical tips, like making a list of everyone you need to buy gifts for and setting a spending limit for each person.
That's a good idea.
And he also suggests looking for ways to save money on gifts, like considering homemade gifts or doing a Secret Santa exchange with friends or family.
Those are great ideas, especially if you're on a tight budget.
They are. And he also talks about the importance of being mindful of our spending habits in general, not just during the holidays.
So it's about developing good financial habits that we can carry with us throughout the year.
Exactly. And, he reminds us that it's okay to say no to things that we can't afford.
It's about setting boundaries and prioritizing our financial well-being.
Right. And he encourages us to remember that our worth is not tied to our possessions.
It's about focusing on what truly matters, like our relationships, our health, and our passions.
Exactly. Those are the things that bring true happiness and fulfillment.
And sometimes those things don't cost a lot of money or any money at all.
That's right. Dr. Emmanuel's message is really about empowering ourselves to make choices that align with our values and to live a life of abundance, not just financially, but in all areas of our lives.
And it's about recognizing that financial well-being is a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. There's always room for growth and learning.
And the best time to start is now.
It really is. And, one of the things that struck me about Dr. Manuel's message was his emphasis on the legacy we're building with our financial decisions.
Especially as parents, right?
Exactly. He reminds us that our children are watching us. They're learning about money by observing our habits.
It's like we're constantly sending them messages about money, whether we realize it or not.
Right. So what kind of legacy are we passing down? Are we teaching them about responsible spending and saving, or are we modeling habits of overspending and debt?
It's a powerful question to consider. Are we giving our children the tools they need to navigate the financial realities of the world?
And it's not just about the kids. Financial literacy is crucial for everyone, regardless of age or life stage.
It's about empowering ourselves to make smart choices, achieve our goals, and live a life of abundance. Not just financially, but in all areas of our lives.
Exactly. And, it's never too late to start learning about personal finance.
There are so many resources available these days. Books, podcasts, financial advisors, even free online courses.
There really is a wealth of information out there. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or lost when it comes to money, don't be afraid to reach out for help.
And remember, financial well-being is a journey, not a destination.
It's about making progress one step at a time.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Dr. Emmanuel's insights, let's recap some of those key takeaways.
Okay, so first and foremost, he stresses the importance of living within our means.
Spending less than we earn.
Right. And that means creating a budget and tracking our expenses.
He also talks about the importance of planning ahead, especially for those big expenses like holidays or vacations.
And he encourages us to view any extra income as exceptional income, money that can be saved or invested for long-term goals.
He also cautions against falling into the debt trap, especially during the holidays when it's so easy to overspend.
And he reminds us that investing is about risk, so it's crucial to do our research and make informed decisions.
But perhaps most importantly, he emphasizes the importance of teaching our children about responsible financial habits by example.
Our actions speak louder than words, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So as we head into the new year, let's all make a commitment to improving our financial literacy.
Whether it's creating a budget for the first time, having an open conversation with our family about money, or just reading a book about personal finance, every step we take towards financial empowerment is a step towards a brighter future.
Well said. So thank you for joining us for this deep dive into financial wisdom. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
And we hope you'll join us again next time for another deep dive into a topic that matters.
Until then, happy budgeting and happy holidays.